What's going on, folks? Welcome to the channel. It's been a while since I posted a new video, but here I am with a new content. Today I'm going to show you how you can get total message count in a particular mailbox uh, folder in a user mailbox using Microsoft Graph API and PowerShell in Microsoft 365. So first and foremost, what is Microsoft Graph API? Microsoft Graph API, as you can see from that page, that is from Microsoft Docs. It's a RESTful web API that enables you to access Microsoft Cloud services, service resources programmatically. Okay, so if you're interested to access any M365 data programmatically using an API, you can leverage on Microsoft Graph API. Okay. So the purpose or what we're going to focus today is to use Microsoft Graph API with PowerShell to be able to get message statistics, that is the total message count from inbox folder for an Office 365 user. Okay, so the main HTTP method that you're going to focus with today is only the GET. And with subsequent videos that I will post in the future, we will see how we can use post, patch, put, and delete HTTP methods. So without a further ado, we can begin. So what we need before we start? You need first to register an app registration in Azure AD. That is the app that you're going to use to access the resource. The app will give us the token that we need to access the data from the backend. And we will need a module. We need to install a PowerShell module named MSAL.PS in our system so that we can be able to generate the access token. Okay, so we can head over to Azure AD and do the app registration. We do that. Let me just log on to my tenant here. So you need first to log into your M365 tenant as a global administrator. Okay, next we just need to click on the app launch on the left, top left corner, choose admin. You can click show all so that you can be able to see all the admin centers. We're interested in Azure AD, so you can click Azure Active Directory. Then you can click Azure Active Directory again. From here, you need to scroll down and then you locate the app registration, not enterprise, but app registrations. And then from here, as you can see, I have a few of applications that I had created just for running the tests. So you can create your own by just clicking on the new registration link on the top. So I'm going to call it demo API app. You can call it the name that you want, your only friendly name. You just need it to be unique. So demo API looks good for me. Then from here, what can you use this application to access this API. So you just need, because you can go with the first option, that for single tenant, minus single tenant, and then you hit register. Okay, once you have your application, the next thing is to configure the application. So we're going to start with um, API permissions. So the API permission is what we need. We need the application to give us access in M3 in M365. So what we need to do is we just need to click on Add Permission, and then you select Microsoft Graph. And then from here we have two, as you can see, we have delegated permissions and we have application permissions. Because we're using application to get that, to get the tokens to access the data, or we're using an application developed using PowerShell to access the data, we need to go with the application permission. But if you to do a dynamic token access, or you want to be able to get the access token dynamically, you can go with the delegated permissions. Okay, so I'm going with application permission, and then from here you'll be able to see all the permissions that you need to assign the application. So we are only interested in reading or getting data from user mailbox, so we're going to locate the mailbox permission. So it's usually mail. Scroll down and locate mail. Here we go. So you can select mail. So as you can see, we have 4 sets of permission that we can assign under mail. Actually, it's not 4, it's 5. We have mail.read basic all. We have mail.read basic. We have also mail.read. We're not interested in writing or sending, so we're going to go with mail.read. We can go, just select the 3, the ones with read. So mail.read, the first 3, and then you can click add permissions. So once you add permission, you need to click grant admin consent for your tenant. So Bernard Combs, that's the name of my tenant, so you just need to hit that and choose yes. To grant the consent. So the permission is already assigned. The next thing that you're going to configure is the authentication. Okay, so for the authentication, you just need to select add platform, and then you need to scroll down. For ours is from it's running from a desktop application, so we just need to select mobile and desktop application. From here you need to choose the first option. Okay, and here this is just optional, but you can go and type like HTTPS as the redirect URL, and then you can hit localhost, just like that. I think it should be just HTTPS or HTTP, whatever. And then you can choose configure. That is an optional thing that you can do. Okay, just hold on. Sign in there. See something looks funny. Okay, once you configure the mobile desktop application, it will appear under the platforms that your application will authenticate through. So it's already configured there. We only using mobile and desktop application with this application, with the auth application. This we can call it that way. Okay, so the next thing is the certificates and secrets. So we need a secret for application. So just go and hit new client secret. You can give it that is the expiration date. So from my case, since this is just a test, we can go with just the recommended 6 months. So once I do the video, I'll just get rid of the application. So you can give it like a description name. So my great secret, and then you hit add. So tricky one here, you just need to copy this the value of your secret before you get out of this page, because once you refresh the page, this value will not appear. So you will be forced to create another secret and then you grab this secret value. So I just need to copy my secret value and paste it in a notepad. So instead of just adding a notepad, I can open Visual Studio Code here and then add secret.txt, and then I can add secret there. Actually, we need that value just to demonstrate what happens if I refresh this page. That secret will disappear. You can see we only have the first three characters of our secret, and then from there we cannot be able to get it. So the only way you can get around this is to create another secret, and also if you want, you can delete this one. Okay, that's the most important. And another thing that we need from our application, you just need to go back to overview. So we are done with API permission, we are done with the secret, and also we are done with authentication. So the next thing that you need to pull is your application client ID. You can go back to Visual Studio Code and they just add it somewhere. App client ID, and then paste it there. The next thing we need is the tenant ID. So you notice I've not copied the object ID, it's the application client ID. Okay, so next is the tenant ID. Go back to Visual Studio Code and just paste tenant ID, just like that. So that's what we need to be able to get the access token to access those resources using Microsoft Graph API. So the next thing that you need to install in your system is the the MSAL.PS module for getting that access token. It's here. So how you install it, just scroll down, is the installation script. Just copy that and then you open PowerShell. You can launch PowerShell as administrator and then you paste it here. I had already done this, so Control V. Why is it not working? So okay, there we go. So that's what you need to do, and then you hit enter. I had already done this, so you need to install the MSAL.PS module. Once that is done, we can go back now to the scripting. So I'm using Visual Studio Code as my code editor for this tutorial. So I'm just going to create a new script here and call it main. .ps1, just like that. And then now we can begin coding. Okay, so I can just get rid of the terminal there. Once I create the script, I'll just paste it in PowerShell directly there. Okay, so let me just open my Mailbox to show you Outlook. So there we go. I got a couple of messages in my inbox. So we're only going to get total message count in this inbox, or the emails that are inside the inbox. We can also grab drafts, send items, but for this tutorial, we're going to focus on the inbox. It's the same thing. All we just need to do is from our request endpoint, we just need to reference the particular mailbox folder that we need to get the report from. So we can go back to our scripting. So once you're done with the installation of the module that is required, the MSAL.PS for getting the access token, I'll also leave the link to that module in the video description so that you can go just directly and grab the installation script, or you can even fork it to your GitHub repository if you have one for reference. Okay, so the first thing is to write the snippet that will allow us to generate the token using the MSAL the PS module. The way it goes, just now go $sign. So that's how you create an object in PowerShell. I'm going to call it connection details. You to add an art and then curly braces there. So connection details, that is in order. So the first thing we need to add is application ID. So add a comment there. So application client ID. So for mine is here. So just copy that. That is for the application that we had created. So the variable for that, you just need to add single quotes, and then you just type client ID, and then two quotes, double quotes, you paste your client ID there. Okay, so this is not supposed to be full colon, it's supposed to be equal. I was wondering why I'm getting that prompt errors there. So the next is tenant ID. Doesn't matter with the order. And then my tenant ID is here. Copy that. I paste there. We can add a comment here. Tenant ID. Next is now the secret, app secret. This one, client secret, just like that. Then from there, we're going to paste our secret value there. Copy that, then paste. Okay, one more thing with app secrets, you need to convert it into a secure string So the way you do that, you just need to add the pipe pipe simple, and then you can call convert to secure, should be convert to secure. Why am I not getting the suggestion? But we can type it, convert to secure string, and then from there we need to call in as plain text and false. Okay, so we'll have it in a secure way. So there are a couple of also ways that I needed to discuss with you that you can test Microsoft Graph API. You can use Postman tool. It's a tool that you can use to test Graph API, like Microsoft one here. You can also use the Microsoft built-in tool. Let me show you where it is. So I like to use the Microsoft Graph API developer tool. Once you search that, it will be the first one to appear in the page. You can click try, and then there we go. You need to sign in, but since in this session I'm signed in using the global admin of my account, so that should reference directly. Let me see if it's that true. No, it's not. So you need to click sign in from here, sign in, and then you can grab the account that you want to sign in, and then now from here you can have a very clean visualization of the request that you make to Microsoft Graph API. So here it's me. Me means the current logged in or the current session user. So if you want to change to another user, you just need to remove me, and then now you can reference the UPN or the email address of the particular user that you need to query via information from there. Okay, so once we query here, we can be able to get even the access token, how it looks like. So for example, if I were to just click me there and then I hit run query, you can see I have a response. Status is 200, okay. And then this is the data. So I'm getting my display name, given name, information about my account, the profile. And then when I scroll up and then go to access token, there we go. I have the access token that I need, that allowed me to access that information. Okay, so with MSAL.PS, that's what we are doing from this script. So this one will allow us to be able to query the access token, and then we can pass in the access token to our request endpoint or our request code. Okay, so the next thing that you need to do is to create an object. I can call it token, and then here now I can call a method from MSAL.PS. It's called MSAL token, and then I can pass in now my connection details. Should be connection details, just like that. So if I want to get the token now, the one that will be returned, because this will return a lot of information, I'm just only interested with the token only. If I were to run this code, let me just show you what you'll get. Just write token there and then copy the entire thing, then go to PowerShell and paste. The term convert to is incorrect. Cool, I've noticed where the issue is on the spelling. Convert, convert to secure. So that's how it's supposed to look like. So Control C, go back to PowerShell, paste. Okay, also getting an error. Just hold on, guys. You're missing something there. You're missing something. Okay, guys, these are some of the issues that we usually face. So, okay, what do we need to do here? Application identifier. Okay, so we can just go back. I believe we grab the correct application ID. Just grab it again. Tenant ID, client secrets, client ID is the same. Let's set the screen again. Just we grab that. Okay, guys, it has went through. I think there was an issue with the client ID. So let's see if we can be able to get anything. Token, there we go. Okay. So I think there was an issue with how I pasted the client ID. It should be 0. Let me go back to this. What's wrong with this one? But we are good to go now. So we have access token here. So this is the token that will give us access to the mail resource. Okay, so if you want just to grab the access token only, we can put it in a different object so that we have specifically that token instead of all these returned data. So go back to PowerShell, and then now from there we can create another object and call it access token, and then we can pass in access token dot this one now access token. There you can see we also have that automatic suggestion, so dot access token. So from there now we can use this access token and pass it to request endpoint that you're just going to construct now in a few. So now since we have the access token, we can proceed with now creating the request endpoint. So I can just add a comment here and add access token ID, or just access token, just like that. Okay, next we are only interested to grab the total message count in the inbox folder. So the way you construct the endpoint, I can create a new object and call it graph URI, or I can just add like mail. Let me just go with the graph API. Okay, this need to be in double quotes and HTTPS. So just like I showed you back to Graph Explorer tool, so it's the same. We're going to use this. For version, we're going to use v1.0. So we have a couple, we have two. That is, we have beta. Beta is under preview. So Microsoft only recommends to use in production the one that is already official release. So this one is still in preview, so we cannot use it in production environment, but for testing we can work on it. Also, we can also utilize it, only that if something fails, you might need to come back and do troubleshooting. That's when Microsoft has done an update on the beta, and you need to also update your application again. So we can go with v1.0, that is version. So go back. So HTTPS graph.microsoft.com and then slash v.10, that is the version of the graph API, and then slash users, and then now slash, we need to reference the email account that we need, or the UPN of the account that we want to get the mailbox information. So here I can add another object and call it mail user, and then I can pass in now my email address, bernard@bernardcoms.onmicrosoft.com, like that. And then here I can just reference the variable mail user, just like that. So I'm accessing under users, I'm only interested with my account. So as we progress with the tutorial, I will also show you how we can get data for multiple users. So we'll just need to construct a CSV file or a TXT file, and then we append all the email addresses for the users that we want to read their data, and then we can grab that, we do a loop, and we can pass in the loop variable or object to our request endpoint so that we can grab data for multiple users. So next query will be mailbox, should not be mailbox but mail folder, mail folders, and then we go with inbox slash messages, and messages. So as you can see there, we have the reference inbox folder. Go back to my account, my mailbox, so the inbox. So if you want to grab the total count for drafts, we just need to edit our endpoint and just reference here draft and so forth. So inbox and then messages, and we need to add the question mark simple, and then now our query parameter. There are a couple of query parameters that you can use with Graph API. We have the skip, we have the filter, we have order by, we have a couple. So if I can just go back to the documentation, just show you some query parameters that are available for use. Okay, just here, query parameters. So there we go. So we have count, expand, filter formats. In our case, we're going to work with a skip and the count to grab the total count of those messages. So back, we need to skip nothing, and then the ampersand, then count equal to true. Okay, that looks good. So that's our request endpoint, the way it will look like. The next is to now do the requests to our graph API. So it's to send the request. So the way you do that, we can call it, we can create another variable or an object and call it response. And then from there, we need to call invoke. Response invoke. Should have a suggestion. Invoke REST method. It's not there. Yeah, there. Invoke REST method. So the method that you're using is get. Need parameter for URI. Here we're going to pass in now the URL. So I forgot to add graph URI. So graph URI there. That's our URI. Next is parameter for content type. There should be application slash or JSON. You need it to come in JSON format. And then we have headers. For the headers, now we're going to pass in our authorization access token. So we construct that, we need to add the add symbol and then the curly braces, add authorization is equal to error. Let me just wrap it. Drop. Error. I think that looks okay, so it should be better if, and then now we have should be doubts installed now. Dollar and then access token there at the top. So access token only, we're going to pass it here. Okay, so it's a bearer. So that's now our request code. So if we can run this code and just to see what you're going to get, so I can add response just at the end, and then I can just pull everything, go back to PowerShell, clear the screen, and paste that code. give it some time to run and enter. There we go. And as you can see, we have a return data of all data dot count of 208. So this is the total count of messages in the inbox folder. If we can use Microsoft Graph Explorer tool, and we just reference the same request endpoint that is in our PowerShell. So if I can go here and then grab this up to there, and then me will mean the current logged in user or session user, and then paste that and then run the request. You can see 200. Okay, and then now we also have the audit account as 208. So 208 is the total messages in my inbox folder. So if we are interested in another folder, like for example drafts, should be draft, if I'm not wrong, let me just confirm for my mailbox. Yeah, drafts. And then I run that request. There we go, only one message, and we can confirm just to ascertain if that is true. And under drafts we have only one message. Under send we have a couple of messages, not a lot, but also we can add send items and then see what we will get. So it should be send items. We should not have space there. There we go. And we have a total messages of 164 in our send folder. So that's how guys you can do. So if you want to do like the entire statistics of all mailbox folders for a particular user, you just need to write from the PowerShell. You just need to construct more request endpoints referencing the folder that you need, the mail folder. So if for example we were to grab for drafts together with inbox, I just need to come here and construct another endpoint, and for the folder reference drafts, and for the response also, when you're doing the request, you need to also perform the request for that particular endpoint independently. Okay, so now since we have the response, we are only interested in dot count or data dot count. The way you do that, as you can see from the result, we are not interested in this value, we're only interested with dot count. So you want to get only the dot count, so you just need to paste that to reference that directly, just like that. And then when we go back to and rerun this code, let's see what we have. We get an error. Okay, it's supposed to be directly, it's supposed to be all data or data dot count, I believe so. Just hold on. Let me just grab it without just the response. then response.count fail. Okay, so let's see, we are only interested in this. If I can grab that dot, if I do that, okay, guys, I'll just, as we progress, I'll show you how we can go about grabbing only the OR data, but when we are passing this information directly to PowerShell, not to PowerShell, but to our report that is through a CSV file, we will be able to we will pass it directly and it will give us the response. So, for example, if we wanted to now add or get that information in a CSV file, we need to construct one. So you need to create a folder. So if you want to send this information for this user or that report to a CSV file, we will need to create a folder in our system so that we can store that file or the CSV file. So the way you do that, um, just need to create new and then call it reports and then equal. Here I'm going to reference C. I've created a folder in C drive named temp, and then the name of the file that you're going to write to is going to be report.csv. So if I can go back to temp or to the system folder where we have the temp with small letters, you can see it is empty. But when we run our scripts, it will create that file automatically. So it's a temp with small letters. Let's keep that way. So since now we have a response here, we can now send that information to this CSV file for this user. The way you do that is simple with PowerShell. Let me just get rid of the variable, and then now I can add a comment and send report, generate report into a CSV file. So I'm going to use this format. You can use the format that you are familiar with when you are writing to CSV file using PowerShell. For my case, I like to use this format. So I create a new object, call it new object. The name is PS object, followed by record again. Now I'll just pipe it and add member. Not property, space name, and then here I can call it display name. Sorry, let me just add the UPN name for the user, because currently I'm using the email address or the UPN of the user. So just UPN, you just go with UPN or user principal name. Then we have value parameter, and then here we can set it now to mail user. Next is now the total count of our email. So it's the same thing, so I can just copy paste this instead of just retyping it again. So paste and then do some few editing. So here I need to write inbox total message count, like that. And what I'm going to pass in there is response or response dot, and I think I've figured why we could not get the all data count using our response object. So if I can comment that quickly just to demonstrate something that I was missing. So if I need to grab the total count, I just need to add response dot, and then in single quotes, then from there I can pass in the all data. So this is what I'm interested in. So I can pass in that just like that, and then we have it. So if I copy that and clear the screen and then paste that only, we have now the two. That's what we needed. So go back to our script. I can comment that and uncomment my script, and then here I can just copy paste what we have there and then paste it there. So by that we have the total value for our total inbox passed in to that column. Next now is to export that information to the CSV. It's simple, just call record again, pipe simple export CSV, then $export, or it just need to be report. Reports, this is this, which is the reports path. Let me just add it path to make sense, path, and then no type with append switch. Okay, there we go. So now I can just copy the entire script and paste it in PowerShell, and then we see if we'll get that file generated. So Control C, and if I come back here, as I told you, in our temp is empty currently. So after running the script, we expect to have that CSV file created with the data. So paste your script there, press enter, and see everything went well, and then we can go back to our temp or temporary folder, and there we have the file reports. We can open it to see what we have inside, and guys, there we have our CSV with two columns First is the user principal name, and we have the inbox message count, and the value is 208. So we can see that our script is working, and what we have implemented is working properly. So simply, guys, that's how you can be able to read any type of resource in Microsoft Graph API using PowerShell. So it applies the same if you want to read groups, if you want to read users, if you want to read um, drive data from SharePoint or OneDrive, anything that you need from Microsoft Graph API, and you just need to read or the get. That's how simple you can do it with this particular script. So today we were only focusing on the mailbox folders. In the subsequent videos that I will make as we progress, we will see how we can post in the inbox. How we can post also in the inbox, true, and we will see how we can send from the inbox using the application. Go back, overview, how we can be able to also delete messages from a particular mailbox uh, folder. So that is in subsequent videos to come. So guys, if you love the content, you can feel free to subscribe for this type of videos that I will be making as we progress. So we are not limited, just to emphasize, we are not limited to using PowerShell. I use PowerShell because for my case, I see it simple to do it with, you can do it with Python, you can do this with C#, you can do with Go programming language, you can do it PHP, Java. Yeah, those types of languages are supported with Microsoft Graph API. You can also do your own test with them. Okay, so I just showed you how we can be able to grab for a single user. What about if we needed to grab for multiple users, like 2 users or 3 users, more than 1 user, that is. So there we cannot go directly and just reference directly like this, and then, for example, you add another user there. No, there is a technical way that we can implement this. The way you do it is simple. So we just need to create a new file here. You can, a txt file, actually you can use a CSV if you want. So I'm going with a txt file and call it users, and then from there I can just add the same email address for this user and another one from my Office 365 users. Let me just go back and grab another user. It's licensed and with content. So I just need to go with this one. So I can add email address for that to see the total message count in the inbox for that user. The other is the same, so copy paste. Then I can save that txt as users. And then we can, let me just get off that one. I can also delete this so that we regenerate it again. So there we have 2 users in our txt file. So create your txt file, add your users there. You can add the number of users that you want, and then you can go back to a script to modify it. So the way you do it, first we need to reference our users path. So what I'm going to do is users, and then it's in C drive. in temp folder slash users.txt. So in PowerShell, how we get content from a txt file is just calling the get command line, get content. That way we can also pass in path. It's an optional parameter. So get content path there, and then now we can loop. So let me just rename this and call it mail users, like that. And then now from here, I can do a for loop. So for each $mail user in mail users, that's how our for loop will look like. So for each mail user in mail users, I can get rid of this and copy this code and paste it inside the for loop, or inside the loop. Okay, so that way. So for each mail user in mail users, or users in our users list here, we need to reference each user there, and the other code just remains the same. So I can copy this now, Control C, go back to PowerShell, clear the screen. This, guys, I told you there we have only the users list, our two users. So if I go to PowerShell and press the script there and run it, it has completed successfully, no issues. And go back, and there we have our reports file generated, and we have data for our two users there. So we have one for Bernard and also for Bernard user there. So 40 emails are inside the inbox folder for this particular mailbox, and this one we had already seen that. Okay, so guys, I hope you loved that. So that's how simple we can do this thing. And in subsequent videos that I will make, we will see how we can grab other type of resources using Graph API, and technically specializing in PowerShell scripting. Okay, that's it, guys, for today. I hope you learned something. If you face any issues, you can feel free to post in the comments, in the comments, and I will be happy to assist you guys. So happy scripting days for you guys. Okay, bye bye.